Echo X-ray, you're still too low level for flight following at this time.
A deadly helicopter crash in California.
On January 26, 2020, an experienced helicopter pilot made a split-second mistake that cost him his life, that of Kobe Bryant and several others. The Sikorsky S-76B helicopter he was flying crashed in Calabasas, California. Worse, several people aboard were members of the same families. NBA legend Kobe Bryant and his daughter, Gianna, 3 members of one family, 2 members of another family, and 2 others. This tragic accident left no survivors, sending shockwaves worldwide.
Fans have been out here at LA Live for hours honoring Kobe Bryant.
The world united to mourn the passing of one of the greatest basketball players and everyone who died that day. After the shock came the many questions. How did it happen? This is the story of the terrifying final 24 hours of Kobe Bryant. It's January the 26th, 2020, a calm, cold, and hazy winter morning in Los Angeles, California. Gianna has a basketball game at Bryant's Mamba Sports Academy in Newbury Park in about 3 hours. As usual, Kobe Bryant would be there to watch his beloved daughter play. However, the distance between Orange County, where they live, and the Mamba Sports Academy is nearly 90 miles. Due to heavy traffic, if they were to drive, they'd have to spend more than 2 hours on the road. But not if you have a helicopter. Kobe loves helicopters for a number of reasons. As we know, Los Angeles is notorious for its heavy traffic. With helicopters, he's able to catch up with his appointments and still gets to spend quality time with his daughters. He cherishes his daughters. Therefore, despite his busy schedule, he habitually drops them off at school and picks them up at closing hours. He told his wife, Vanessa Bryant, to not bother doing that, because the moments he gets to spend with them while driving them to school and back was important to him.
Take the kids to school every morning. Then after I take them to school, I go to practice. I drive to practice. And this is when, before people started really moving down south, so I can get down to LA in 30, 40 minutes. But then traffic started getting really, really bad. Right, and I was sitting in traffic and I wound up missing like a school play because I was sitting in traffic, and this thing just kept mounting. I had to figure out a way where I could still train and focus on the craft, but still not compromise family time. And so that's when I looked into helicopters and be able to get down and back in 15 minutes.
Nearly 4 years prior, Kobe retired from the NBA, scoring an astonishing 60 points in his final game for the Lakers. If that wasn't obvious already, his performance that day cemented his status as one of the NBA's greatest players ever.
There it is, a 50-point game in his farewell.
But something is missing. Someone needs to carry on his legacy. Therefore, he's preparing Gianna for that task. Of his children, she has the strongest desire for basketball and the talent to back it up. At just 11 years old, college basketball coaches were already encouraging her father to have her consider their programs. In response, Kobe enrolled Gigi in his team, the Mamba Girls. By noon, she's scheduled to play a basketball game at the Mamba Sports Academy in Thousand Oaks, California. It's just a few minutes before 9 a.m., so they need to be there as soon as possible. Bryant's company, Kobe Inc., has a deal in place with helicopter flight brokers, OC Helicopters. Their job is to ensure a helicopter is always available to fly Kobe and members of his family to their destinations. OC Helicopters employ the services of several helicopter charter companies and always has a Plan A and Plan B in place. In other words, if one charter company fails to provide a helicopter for their trips, another is readily available to ensure Kobe is never stranded. Island Express Helicopters is one of Kobe's favorite charter companies. He has used their services many times and is mostly attended to by their chief helicopter pilot, Zobayan. Zobayan has flown several celebrities including Kylie Jenner, Lorenzo Lamas, and Kawhi Leonard. Kobe Bryant trusts him due to his vast years of experience and professionalism. Before 9 a.m., Zobayan is stationed at the John Wayne Airport awaiting Kobe's arrival. Kobe's management and the pilot have a group chat where they make arrangements for trips. According to their messages, they made the same trip just a day earlier. Although the weather wasn't favorable for that flight, they still managed to fly. Zobayan believes the weather will be better for this trip. Zobayan worked very hard to become a pilot. After migrating to the US, he had to work as a parking attendant to pay for aviation school and obtain his pilot license. Zobayan received his first private pilot license with a helicopter rating on January 21, 2001. and his commercial pilot license on December 3, 2007. But long before then, he learned to fly at Group 3 Aviation, an intimate flight school in Van Nuys, California. He started working with Island Express in 2011 and became their chief pilot. He has done 8,577 hours of helicopter flights, 1,250 hours flying the Sikorsky S-76B, and just 70 hours flying under Instrument Flight Rules (IFR). IFR and VFR are the two sets of regulations governing all aspects of civil aviation aircraft operations. Instrument flying conditions refer to weather conditions that require pilots to rely primarily on their flight instruments for navigation and control, rather than outside visual references. This typically includes instrument meteorological conditions, IMC, where visibility is restricted and pilots must utilize instruments to ensure safe operations. Although Zobayan is an instrument-certified pilot, he is far more experienced in flying under VFR. Visual Flight Rules (VFR) are a set of regulations that govern how pilots operate aircraft in weather conditions that are clear enough to see where the plane is going. VFR flights are challenging and require pilots to understand weather patterns, maintain situational awareness, make real-time decisions, follow specific guidelines for navigation and communication, file a VFR flight plan, and obtain clearance to enter controlled airspace. VFR pilots can fly any route and altitude they choose, as long as they avoid adverse weather conditions like clouds, heavy precipitation, and low visibility. In other words, they must be able to see the ground, the outsides of clouds, other airplanes, and obstacles. A VFR pilot's worst fear, getting caught in IMC, has led to many crashes when pilots without the proper instrument rating enter clouds or poor visibility, causing spatial disorientation and loss of control. Continued VFR into IMC is when an aircraft operating under visual flight rules intentionally or unintentionally enters into instrument meteorological conditions. According to the Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association, nearly half of all weather-related accidents each year are due to VFR into IMC. Some notable examples include the Day the Music Died plane crash in 1959 and John F. Kennedy Jr.'s crash in 1999. As Zobayan looked at his flight planning app, he sees some troubling news. A thick layer of clouds is covering the city, with heavy haze below. This means that large parts of the area aren't safe for flying, especially for Ara Zobayan. However, this flight is important because Kobe is a special client, and Ara wants to impress him. Their helicopter is a Sikorsky S-76B, a twin-engine helicopter, one of the safest in the world. Ricky Webb, the owner of OEC Helicopters, checks the weather map with Ara. The map shows that the weather is too bad for a direct flight along the coast. But Ara has another plan. He suggests flying inland, which would take longer but be safer. Ara files a VFR flight plan for his inland route, submits it, and gets approval. Now he's ready for takeoff. Around 9 a.m., Kobe and Gianna, along with their associates, head toward the helicopter. They are dressed in matching black tracksuits. Rick Webb helps them aboard as soon as they arrive. The occupants of the helicopter are Ara Zobayan, the pilot, Kobe Bryant, NBA legend, Gianna Bryant, Bryant's 13-year-old daughter, Christina Mauser, assistant coach of the Mamba girls basketball team, John Altobelli, baseball coach at Orange Coast College, Kerry Altobelli, Altobelli's wife, Alyssa Altobelli, Altobelli's 14-year-old daughter, and Gianna's teammates, Sarah Chester, mother of the final passenger and another of Gianna's teammates, Peyton Chester. For Bryant, this ride is routine. He usually enjoys the window seat on the left, where he can take in the expansive views on a clear day. But today, visibility is limited. The helicopter's engines start at approximately 9:06 a.m. The Sikorsky S-76B interior is spacious, with luxury leather seats and mahogany accents. It provides a comfortable setting as it tilts forward and lifts off the ground. After taking off from the John Wayne Airport in Orange County, it immediately heads northwest above the 5 freeway. Because visual flight rules prohibit a pilot from flying into or near clouds, the helicopter remains at an altitude of 700 or 800 feet above mean sea level while flying northwest from SNA. The helicopter flies over Boyle Heights near Dodger Stadium. Ara Zobayan needs to get permission from the Burbank Air Control Tower to enter their airspace. As it nears Glendale, Ara asks the air traffic controllers at Hollywood Burbank Airport if he can switch to following the Ventura Freeway US 101.
72 Echo X-ray, Burbank Tower, Burbank altimeter 3019, Burbank Class Charlie, surface area is IFR, stay intention.
8% maintain, special VFR transition on the 101 westbound 2.
November 2 Echo X-ray, hold outside Burbank Class Charlie airspace. I have an aircraft going around.
2 Echo X-ray holding.
The controllers inform him that the weather requires IFR, instrument flight rules, so they have him circle in a holding pattern for 11 minutes, starting from 9:21 a.m. while they wait for two other flights to land. Between 9:21 and 9:32 a.m., Zobayan holds over Glendale for air traffic at Burbank Airport. This delay makes Ara nervous, but he continues the flight. A local resident notices the helicopter flying unusually low and circling overhead. Curious, he takes out his cell phone to capture the moment on video. While holding, Burbank informs Zobayan that the cloud top extends to an altitude of 2,400 feet. Burbank contacts Van Nuys, which is also operating under IFR, and Van Nuys advises Burbank to direct Zobayan north of Van Nuys.
November 2 Echo X-ray, and for your planning purposes, you can expect to transition to the north side of the airport. I just spoke with Van Nuys on the line, and they've got multiple IFR departures coming off of runway 16, so you can expect to follow the 5 north and cross that way.
2 Echo X-ray, no problem.
At 9:32 a.m., the pilot gets permission to continue flying under special VFR conditions, meaning he must stay below 2,500 feet. After passing through Burbank's airspace, the helicopter turns west following the 118 freeway and then moves into the Van Nuys area. The Van Nuys controllers approve a turn southwest toward the 101 freeway at 9:39 a.m., where the pilot reports flying at 1,500 feet.
2 Echo X-ray, advise in VFR condition, and then we stay on the 118, so we're currently at 1400, and we have 0235.
As they approach Calabasas Pass, the clouds grow thicker. Ara has to climb higher to get above them. They are about to reach the Santa Monica Mountains. The peaks are hidden by clouds, posing a huge challenge. The flight is then handed off to Southern California Air Traffic Control, SCT, which contacts the pilot at 9:40 a.m., confirming his altitude. SCT warns him that they will soon lose contact due to his low altitude.
2 Echo X-ray, you're still too low level for flight following at this time.
Suddenly, at 9:44 a.m., the helicopter flies into the clouds. A hiker on the ground watches as the white helicopter vanishes into the clouds. Inside the helicopter, panic sets in. Ara realizes they are in instrument meteorological conditions where he can't see anything. He needs to climb quickly to stay safe. Visibility becomes very poor. The Sikorsky S-76B is equipped with autopilot features. At this point, Ara needs to switch to autopilot. However, he is disoriented and continues to manually fly the helicopter. Ara Zobayan finds himself flying VFR in IMC. He tries to fly straight and climb higher. He then begins to turn left, heading southeast and reaching 2,300 feet. The peak of the cloud is at 2,400 feet. They are just seconds away from safety if the helicopter keeps gaining altitude. 8 seconds later, the helicopter starts descending rapidly. Two mountain bikers witness the helicopter emerge from the clouds. At 9:45 a.m., the helicopter crashes into a hillside in Calabasas and explodes on impact. The impact was devastating. The helicopter hit the ground so hard that it created a crater 15 feet wide and 2 feet deep. Flames erupted immediately. Back at OC Helicopters, everyone was worried. They couldn't reach Ara or track the helicopter. Patty Taylor, the operations manager, sent out messages, but there was no reply. They realized something was wrong when they couldn't find the helicopter on the radar. Just moments after the crash, the mountain bikers who witnessed the tragic scene called 911, describing flames and smoke in the distance.
911, what's your emergency?
Helicopter crashed into a mountain. We heard it, and now I'm looking at the flames
Emergency responders quickly rushed to the scene. By 10 a.m., firefighters arrived. They could see the flames from afar. They battled through steep hills and thick bush to reach the helicopter. When they finally got close, the fire was spreading fast. The helicopter had magnesium parts, which made it hard to put out the fire. Around 10:15 a.m., news started spreading that there had been a helicopter crash in Calabasas. At first, nobody knew who was on board. The world was holding its breath. More rumors started spreading fast that Kobe Bryant, his daughter Gianna, and 7 others had died in the crash. People everywhere were shocked and in disbelief. Kobe Bryant was a hero, a champion, an icon. At 11:24 a.m., TMZ officially broke the news that Kobe Bryant had died in a helicopter crash. The news spread quickly from Los Angeles to every corner of the world.
Breaking news this Sunday afternoon, 5-time NBA champion, former league MVP Kobe Bryant died earlier this afternoon in Los Angeles in a helicopter crash.
Fans, friends, and family all felt a deep sadness. By 2:30 p.m., the Los Angeles County Sheriff held a press conference. They announced that the National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, was going to investigate the cause of the crash.
We're waiting the arrival of the coroner's office to assist in the recovery of the remains. As the chief indicated, there were no survivors.
The sheriff's department asked people to stay away from the crash site, but fans and news crew kept gathering, trying to catch a glimpse of the area. The world was mourning, but there were still so many questions. On January 28, the medical examiner's coroner's office started identifying the victims. The process was difficult, but they worked quickly to bring closure to the families. They confirmed the names of all 9 passengers. By February 1st, their families were allowed to take their loved ones home. It was a painful moment. Many families were in shock, unable to believe their loss. For Vanessa Bryant, Kobe's wife, it was especially hard. She had lost both her husband and her daughter. On February 7, private memorial services were held for Kobe and Gianna. Only close family and friends attended. People gathered to say goodbye, sharing memories and tears. It was a time for family to mourn together, away from the cameras. Then, on February 24, a public memorial service was held in the Staples Center in Los Angeles. This was a place where Kobe had played so many games, where fans had cheered him on. People from all over came to say their final goodbye to Kobe and Gianna. The date was chosen carefully, 2/24. It symbolized Gianna's jersey number 2 and Kobe's number 24. Kobe's wife, Vanessa, spoke with a broken heart. She told the world how much she loved her husband and daughter, sharing memories that made people laugh and cry.
I won't be able to tell her how gorgeous she looks on her wedding day. I'll never get to see my baby girl walk down the aisle, have a father-daughter dance with her daddy, dance on the dance floor with me, or have babies of her own.
The pain was deep, but she was brave. The world mourned the loss of Kobe Bryant. Tributes poured in from all over, honoring his legacy as a great athlete and a beloved figure. Investigation into the cause of the crash. The National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, concluded that Zobayan likely became disoriented in the low visibility and experienced illusions that made him think he was flying straight and level when he was actually turning. The investigation revealed that the pilot's decision to fly into the clouds against the rules caused the crash. If the weather had been better or the autopilot had been used, the tragedy might have been avoided. Authorities also investigated why the aircraft was given special clearance to fly when the other aircraft were grounded due to foggy conditions.